Northwest Iowa Correctional Facility is making a positive impact outside the facility's walls.
That program helps out local animal shelters, all while enriching the lives of inmates. The North Central Correctional Facility in Rockwell City has spent the last several years running a program that trains dogs from local shelters, preparing them for adoption into their forever homes. KTIV spoke with 2 inmates who serve as dog handlers in that program. Now, the facility has asked us not to use their names or show their faces. Both men say the program supports their rehabilitation in meaningful ways, like teaching responsibility, patience, and empathy. They also share that the dogs offer them unconditional, judgment-free companionship.
It's really nice to know that they're not seeing me as somebody who's made a mistake. They're looking at me as the greatest thing in the world when I come home, and it's a nice change for being not a number or statistic, just simply being there and just being happy.
KTIV's cameras were given access for an up-close look at the program. Our Connor Trett explains how the program helps both people and pets.
Meet Kira. This Husky Australian Shepherd mix is one of about 10 dogs in training at the North Central Correctional Facility in Rockwell City, Iowa.
High five. Good girl.
The correctional facility has partnered with local animal shelters to help free up space and allow those incarcerated the chance to take care of and train the dogs.
It's been a lot going on a while for our shelters around here to be very, very, very packed. So a lot of times we are her overflow. We have actually had in the past also where we have helped other pounds or other shelters around the area too.
Sit.
Once they're here with the handler, they spend all the time with them. They sleep in the cell with them. These guys take them for walks. It is their basic primary responsibility is that dog.
The dogs go through 4 to 6 weeks of training here at North Central, and once they graduate from the program, they're available for adoption through the Calhoun County Canine Shelter.
So the first week is sitting, making sure that they know their name. After that, it's leash training. Week 3 is going to be your stay command. Week 4 is just reinforcing all weeks 1 through 3 and making sure that they are consistently listening to the commands.
And while they're learning house training,
sit.
These dogs can teach their handlers life lessons.
When I was in the world as a civilian, I think that I took a lot for granted. And even though I felt like I was doing everything right, there's a lot of things that I realized that the dog program has showed me that there's a lot of things that I need to focus on as responsibility mainly, and taking care of a life. And I hope, at the end of this year when I'm released, I can, take this knowledge and, pass it on.
And as this story continues, we've learned that dogs that have graduated from the program are available for adoption, and you can adopt them right now. Details on how to adopt them are inside this story on KTIV.com.